Hi, it's Chris, and this is my review of today's reading through the Bible in a year chronologically. September 13. Basically, it's Zechariah 9 through Zechariah 14. That's what we read. And man, Zechariah is just a mixture of things. We've got the Philistines that God's gonna. He's prophesying. Zechariah's prophesying that God says he's gonna kill the Philistines. He's gonna destroy the pride of the Philistines. He's gonna kill them. But the surviving Philistines will worship God and become like a clan in Judah. He's allowing people in, And I think when I read when I read back about foreigners coming to the land, they were made to assimilate, to be part of the Jews. They weren't the people. The Jews or the Israelites weren't allowed to take on what they brought in, but they were to have those people follow what they were following, to follow God. But it worked backwards, where those people started doing what the sinful things that the foreigners would do. That's what was the fall of Jerusalem. That they sought other gods, they worshiped false idols and those kind of things. So that's what that was all about. But here we're seeing where Lord's going to just take care of it. And those left, he's going to kill them. And those that are left are going to become worshipers of God. They're going to follow God. They're going to realize who God is, and they're going to take part in that. So that's pretty cool. Then, then we get stuff that Jesus talks about, stuff that he does. When we read through the festivals and things of things of that nature, when we read about Easter, we read about Jesus coming in on a donkey. And here we go. Look, your king is coming to you. He is righteous and victorious. He is humble, riding on a donkey, riding on a donkey's colt. We see that. That's prophecy. 500 years before that. This is Zechariah's around 523 BC, right? Get the hope of God restoring his people. Then we get the prophecy of Judah coming up in Zechariah chapter 11, verse 12. And he said to them, and this is Zechariah, let's see, how does that go? Well, let's jump back to 10. Zechariah chapter 11, verse 10. Then I took my staff called favor and cut it in two, showing that I had revoked the covenant I had made with all the nations. That was the end of my covenant with them. The suffering flock was watching me, and they knew that the Lord was speaking through my actions. And I said to them, if you like, give me my wages, whatever I'm worth, but only if you want to. So they counted out for my wages 30 pieces of silver. And the Lord said to me, throw it to the potter, this magnificent sum which they valued me. So I took the 30 coins and threw them to the potter in the temple of the Lord. So what we know about that is when Judas turned Jesus over, he was paid 30 pieces of silver. That was the price. The price of our God was 30 pieces of silver given to Judas. And Judas, getting jealous, went back and said, I can't take, or not jealous, I'm sorry. He was not jealous. Oh man. He was concerned about it. He was worried about it. He was guilty. He felt guilt. He was condemned. So he took that silver and he took it back. He tried to give it back. Oh, no. So he threw it in the temple and ran off and hanged himself. And the priests, they said, well, this is blood money. We can't take this. So they bought the potter's field with it. All lining up, right? That's how this lines up. That's what happens. They bought that field and they buried Judas in that field that he bought for the price paid for him. Talked about right here in Zechariah. Then we get to see future deliverance of of Jerusalem. Zechariah chapter 12. And right here in verse 10, I will pour out a spirit of grace and prayer on the family of David and the people of Jerusalem. They will look on whom they have pierced and mourn for him as an only son. They will grieve him bitterly. Or they will grieve bitterly for him as a firstborn son who has died. Again, Jesus. foretold of. Then we hear in Zechariah 13, verse 7. Awake, O sword, against my shepherd, the man who is my partner, says the Lord of heaven's armies. Strike down the shepherd, and the sheep will be scattered, and I will turn against the lambs. And we see that when he's hung on a cross. They scattered. His people scattered. And this verse is brought up. But the good news is that it's a refining time. Then we get Zechariah 14. The Lord will rule the earth. We get that. We know that. And Zechariah chapter 14 here. Verse 16 says, in the end, the enemies of Jerusalem who survived the plague will go up to Jerusalem each year to worship the King of heaven's armies and to celebrate the festival of shelters. And then it also says, a little further down, 19, all Egypt and the other nations will all be punished if they don't celebrate the festival of shelters. And I'm not sure about all this here, because what it talks about is before is there will be a plague, and people will become like walking corpses. They're rotting, their flesh rotting away. Talks about their eyeballs rotting and their skin stinking. Kind of reminds me of how Hollywood likes to portray zombies, and kind of makes you think about that just a little bit. Don't know if there's how that works, but I'm assuming that's probably where that idea comes from, right here. Anyway, that's how we see it. That's what we see. The word of the Lord, it tells of things to come. This whole book of Zechariah is prophecy, and he's prophesying to Israelites, and he's prophesying to us. He's proven that, or God's showing that he came and he told us about it, but there's more left to be said. There's more left coming. I'm no expert in this by any means. I'm not claiming I know hardly anything about all this, but there's more here than meets the eye, and I'm someday going to spend some time on this, but right now, know that there's more. Dig into this, eat, drink, hear the word of the Lord.